If you're not running static ads in 2025, you are leaving money on the table. My company makes thousands of ads every single month for 6, 7, and 8-figure brands, and I can tell you that static ads are not only still working consistently, but they are also the foundation of a good creative pipeline and key for finding new winning angles. And the reason is very simple. Statics are the cheapest and fastest way for you to test your messaging. Right now, we're testing multiple batches of statics in the same amount of time that it takes us to get one round of content back from a single influencer, and we're saving money in the process. But statics only work if the system is built the right way. So let me hop into my computer and I'll show you the process. Okay, so now that we're in my computer, welcome to the Static Ads Masterclass. I'm gonna go over a brief summary of everything we're gonna go over. 3 keys of making good static ads. I'm gonna show you some in real-time examples. I'm gonna show you exactly how to set up the ads and test them. And then I'm gonna save a little treat for the end of the video. So let's get right into it. The first thing is the 3 keys of a banger static, right? The first thing is it needs to be skimmable. So a lot of times, and you'll see in the example that I show, it's not cluttered, right? You don't want text all over the screen, crazy amount of colors. You want to understand where the viewer's eye is going, right? That's extremely important. So we want to showcase the product in a good way. We want to have a key feature call outs or social proof or address any objections that they have, but we want to keep it very minimal, just enough to get the person to click, right? So that's going to be the first thing, is don't overdo your static ads. Make them very skimmable. The second is going to be addressing any objections. Statics a lot of times are going to hit the middle of the funnel or clean up some of the, viewers who may have watched a VSL at the top of your funnel but didn't make the purchase. So here's where you can address some of those objections, right? Think about maybe price is an objection, or shipping time, or social proof. Maybe hit them with a review. These are all things that are good in static ads. And the final, social proof. Like I said, these are my favorite types of static ads. I just love letting reviews run, or celebrity endorsements. Anything that you can do like that in a static ad always rips. So those are the 3 keys. Make them really skimmable, easy to digest, get the information across in a concise manner. The second, address any objections that people from the top of the funnel may have. And the third, always include social proof if you can. So this is an example of making something skimmable, right? This is an extremely appealing image to the eye, right? There's a lot of beautiful colors on the top, not a lot on the bottom. There's a clear, concise us versus them happening. And then you see the key feature callouts are very readable, but there's not too much going on. People scroll really fast. If your ad cannot be understood in 1 second, you've lost them. That's a good quote to live by. They can understand exactly what's happening right now. And there's already a lot of fear in the marketplace about energy drinks, right? So what we do with that is we obviously pit people against energy drinks. We talk about all the stuff that people already know is bad for them, and then we are promoting our product with all of our healthy alternatives, right? So that's a good example of a skimmable ad. Next is addressing objections. So especially if you have a high ticket product, I noticed that people typically have a lot of price objections. So this was a creative way for us. We have a client with a pretty high ticket product, and we just go straight in and lead with buy now, pay later. So if people see these crazy flashy visuals that they have in their top of funnel ads, but then they go to the website and they click off right immediately after they see the price, then they're going to get hit with a static like this, and they're going to say, oh man, I did not know I could use buy now, pay later. Boom. So we're addressing objections, right? The next is going to be including social proof. So even in these, what we could have done is had a little, review right here, or I don't know, this one, it would be kind of weird to have a review maybe like right here. And this is something that we're doing with a lot of our newer ones, is just including social proof in almost every ad. Because like I said, these social proof ads just absolutely kill it for us. Trust is everything. Add reviews, star ratings, badges, whatever you can do, because everybody on the internet has had a bad experience from a Facebook ad at this point. So you need to be, very trustworthy, or at least come off trustworthy, right? So I hope after seeing that, you can kind of understand what you need to make a good static ad. And these are some good examples in terms of aesthetics. Next, I'm going to get into showing you kind of how to set up the actual test, how to scale your brand with static ads. This is what you came here for. So it's all good making a pretty looking static ad. But you might be asking, how do you test? How do you set everything up? So this is something that we use internally, and this is something that if you want to do this on your own, I think you should use as well. We typically break it down like this. So we're going to have, obviously, your different ICPs, right? Let's just use an example that you are I'm trying to think of a unisex product. Something to do with the gym, right? Maybe creatine gummies. So here you could have bodybuilders. Here you could have gym girls. And then here you could have, I don't know, random. So beyond that, you're going to want to take 3 angles hitting this ICP, right? So up under this is where the different angles are going to come in. And then an example of an angle, if you're not following me or if you don't know what that means, would be, maybe an us versus them against, the regular creatine powder. I don't know if you guys have tried creatine, but to me it tastes terrible in the powder form. That could be an angle. This one could be maybe better absorption coming from the gummy, and then whatever for another angle. And then below that, you want to test different types of creatives or maybe different looks of creatives so that, you can kind of figure out what type of creative is going to work for that angle and for that ICP. And if you test like that, typically what you're going to see is, ICP number 3 or customer profile number 3 is going to be a complete dud. You're going to have no winners. And then maybe for the girl bodybuilders, they're going to really love the taste angle. And then they're going to love, us versus them creatives and maybe review creatives. And then whereas bodybuilders are going to love, the absorption angle and maybe these 2 types of creatives. Then you've just tested extremely quickly. And I know in the beginning I talked about how, UGC content takes a week to get back. VSLs take a really long time to edit, and they're a lot more expensive. I'm not saying static ads are the end-all be-all. We also make tons of VSLs and do tons of UGC content. But it's a lot better to do UGC content when you have your dialed-in angles and your dialed-in, offers, key feature callouts, etc., and you have the right ICPs, right? Or customer profiles, I'm sorry. So after you already know this with static ads, then you can start mass producing this angle and these creative types, this angle and this creative types, and you can go ahead and start sourcing the right type of UGC creators who are going to be able to communicate to your customer profiles effectively, and you can provide them with exactly what to say and how to promote it based off of the data that you've already gotten back from these quick, rapid static tests. So, sorry, I feel like I've been talking really fast. But just to summarize this, we want to make the ads skimmable, we want to address objections, and we want to include social proof wherever and as much as we possibly can. Then we want to test and verify customer profiles, as well as angles, as well as creative types or offers or however you present the product, right? Then after that, you can go ahead and have a lot higher hit rate on your UGC packages that you're shipping out and your VSLs that you're making. So just to break this all down very simply for you guys, we're going to take it step by step. Step 1, you need to obviously define your ICP or a couple customer profiles that you want to test. I hope you can do that. And if you don't know what that means, I have other videos on my channel where I go extremely in depth into customer profiles. Step 2 is define 3 different angles from that. Step 3 is going to be making 5 creatives per angle. And then step 4 is going to be launching your test. So hopefully you understand all this. Hopefully all this was very informative. And if you learned all this and you think, oh my gosh, this is really hard, I don't want to do all this myself, feel free to come work with us at Don Global Solutions, right? We have, here's some examples. We've done pretty much every niche at this point. We've been in business for about 3 years, and we have sold a lot of stuff, multiple 8 figures in client revenue. And yeah, if you made it to the end of the video, comment the word skim. And if you love the video, but you don't want to do this yourself, feel free to click the link in the description. We work with brands selling essentially everything on the internet. And we've been in business for about 3 years, generated 8 figures in client revenue. And like you can see from here, we've made ads selling essentially everything. So hopefully that was enjoyable. Comment the word skim below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.